I mean, not that this will matter once they're uploaded to the channel, but this is the 3rd day in a row I've been at the cinema, which is excellent and makes my heart happy. And I could not have watched 3 more different films over the last 3 days. On Sunday it was Mean Girls, and yesterday it was Priscilla, and today it was Poor Things. Oof. I'm definitely still processing. That was just over 2 hours of an absolute assault on the senses. But one of the reasons I do the reviews as soon as I come out the cinema is just to sort of capture my initial thoughts. And sometimes I guess I probably go away and think about a film, and over time I might feel differently about it, but this is my reaction. I mean, I'd like to think they're not just reaction videos, they are reviews of sorts. Okay, I think I'm ready to go in. So Poor Things is the latest offering from Greek director Yorgos Lanthimos. His last film, if I'm correct, unless he snuck one out in between, was a film called The Favourite from a few years ago, quite a few years ago now. And he has once again invited Emma Stone to be part of his project. So she starred alongside Olivia Colman and Rachel Weisz in The Favourite, and this time she is the lead, playing the part of Bella Baxter in Poor Things. It's a very, very hard to categorise film, which I think is part of its charm. I guess the first thing I will say is that this film will not appeal to everybody, and that's not in any way me suggesting that I'm better than anyone, or that it's too highbrow for some people, but let's just call a spade a spade. It's weird. It is a weird film. It is not everybody's cup of tea. It is deeply bonkers, and as I said, an absolute assault on the senses. In simple terms, it is the story of Bella Baxter, played by Emma Stone. She is a young woman who is living in the care of a brilliant, eccentric scientist and physician, Dr. Godwin Baxter, played by Willem Dafoe. So you find out quite early on he performed a quite unorthodox surgery to bring Bella to life. She is, I guess, a Frankenstein's monster of sorts, but not in the same way. And certainly I don't think Bella's a monster. I think she's an absolute marvel. But yes, he is a man. He looks very disfigured himself. Throughout the film, he casually hints at all the awful things his father did to him in the name of science. It's clearly been experimented on extensively, scarred, and redesigned along the way by his own father. So he's taken this sort of natural curiosity into his own medical career, and it all plays a part in him creating Bella. So she starts out the film as basically a new life, a baby in the body of a young adult woman, and you watch her start to explore the world and start to understand it. And to begin with, she is very, very like a toddler. She reacts to things in the way a toddler would, and she learns about the world by breaking things and testing things and just being completely outrageous. She has very limited language to start with, and you watch her just start to learn about the world. And her father, for want of a better word, God as she calls him, is very protective of her. He wants to keep her hidden from the world because she's quite a unique creation. The only person he lets in is another young scientist called Max McCandles. I've just looked up the guy's name. Rami Youssef, I think his name was. I'm so sorry if I'm wrong. Not that he's ever going to see this. He was very good. So he comes to sort of live with Bella and Godwin, and he is supposed to just be there to sort of catalogue Bella's development, but then he gets sort of enchanted by her as well. But she wants to learn more about the world. She wants to go outside, and she's given the opportunity to do this when she meets now now what was his name? Duncan Wedbury? Something like that. Played by Mark Ruffalo. A lot has been made of Emma Stone's performance, and rightly so. It is absolutely phenomenal. Nobody, as far as I can tell in the reviews I've read, and certainly not in the awards season nominations, no one's really mentioned Mark Ruffalo. I thought he was absolutely superb. So it starts off that he's sort of indifferent. He's quite intrigued by Bella. He's a very sort of sexual creature, and he just wants to sort of take her around Portugal, take her around Lisbon, and help her to experience the world. And he is very much interested in experiencing Bella at every given opportunity. And to begin with, she's on board with this, and theirs is quite a sort of interesting pairing until the power shifts and it gets to the point where he wants her more than she wants him, and she actually becomes quite bored of him. And then her journey leads her off in all manner of different directions. I don't want to go too much more into detail because I don't want to give away key plot points. That sort of is the earlier part of the film, is her sort of early discovery, wanting to explore the world, going off with Duncan, and then going off on her own. It's very funny. It's very shocking in places. There is a lot of sex. It's all part of the story. It's not gratuitous in any way. It serves the story, and it's very key to sort of Bella's awakening and development, and again, her understanding of the world. The performances are excellent. It's quite otherworldly. It's, in some ways, it's almost like Victorian setting, but then there are sort of weird, almost flying trams, and the skies are painted. At one point, her and Duncan are on a sort of cruise ship, but it's belching out this sort of odd green smoke. So it's like a fairy tale in some ways. Like I say, it's like a gothic horror. The third act takes an unexpected turn I absolutely did not see coming, and it bordered on actual horror. It got quite scary towards the end. Like, it's a trip. It starts out at the very beginning, it's in black and white to begin with, and it was very David Lynch, very sort of Eraserhead type weirdness, and there's some odd lenses on the camera, and it's really unquantifiable. There isn't really anything else out there like this, and I think that's why it's been talked about a lot. And the nudity and the swearing, and Emma Stone, and oh man, she's incredible. Like, I've always loved her ever since whatever the first thing I saw her in was, and I don't even know what it was. It wasn't Easy A. I already knew who she was by the time I saw that. But everything from sort of La La Land to her in The Favourite to Crazy Stupid Love and just everything else in between, I just find her absolutely fascinating. She's really diverse in her performances. I wouldn't say like, oh, that's an Emma Stone type role, or, you know, she's a real chameleon and she will disappear inside a role, and she deserves all the plaudits and all the attention she's getting for this film, because her performance is phenomenal, and the whole film like hinges on her. It all revolves around Bella, and you watch her evolve, and she changes without you realizing, and there comes a moment and all of a sudden I was like, oh, she's kind of, I mean, she's not normal because she's exceptional, but, you know, she starts, like I say, like a toddler with very limited language, and then a language develops, and then there's a brilliant scene where Duncan says to her, like, you know, she uses this really big word, can't think what it is, in context, and he says, you know, you don't know what bananas are, but yet you understand what this means, and it's a wow. I mean, it's something else. Yeah, I'll be thinking about it for a very, very long time to come. So if you like your films unconventional and you're okay to be challenged, and you're not easily freaked out, give it a whirl. If you like your films a little bit more quote unquote normal, give it a swerve. It's absolutely batshit, but in the best possible way. I loved it. I'm really, really glad I got to see it. I'm gonna go home now because the wind's so strong it's actually shaking my car. So yeah, until next time, film fans, Katie out.